afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. John Belkowitz here, Intelligent Concrete. We've got an awesome Q&A day. Q&A Monday on a Friday, but it's Thursday. It's wild. Go ahead, Patchouli. What you got?
What is the strength difference between concrete cylinders that are cured correctly and ones that are not?
This is a loaded question. Somebody had a bad job site. Hey, for that person that had a bad job site, I don't know who this was, but here's a hug. Here's a hug. Anytime somebody's asking that question, that means they had probably low breaks. You don't normally say, hey, what's the difference when cured incorrectly when you have higher breaks? So this sounds like somebody had a bad job site, strengths went hairy and scary, and then from there, if you don't have maturity, you gotta core out Swiss cheese. I'm sorry. That's terrible. It's terrible. So, yeah, there's always going to be a difference, good and bad. And if there is a difference from what's in place concrete, no matter which way you go, it's bad and bad. And let me give you a little bit more detail. So when we put concrete in place, we have something called a mass effect, where the more concrete we have, the hotter it gets. Because it gets hotter, we kick off the thermokinetics of cement hydration, the hydraulic reactions that take us from a liquid state to a hardened state, kick it off a lot faster. When we make samples, that's what they're talking about here, per ASTMC 31, and then we break them per ASTMC 39, we're making samples in the field, and we got to cure them in the field too. And normally what folks do is they either use a cooler, they'll use a temperature-controlled water bath, or they could even use put the samples underneath the blanket where they're curing. This question refers to when somebody does that incorrectly. And incorrectly can mean anything that's not conforming to, and I keep saying ASTMC 31. The ASTM is not coming to me, and I apologize. I believe it's 31. Patchouli will put the link down below. So when we cure them incorrectly, it's anything that goes outside of what's required per whatever ASTM that was that I'm forgetting right now. And that means that with a concrete that's placed here in Colorado in the dead of winter, instead of curing the concrete in a temperature-controlled environment, we leave the cylinders out on the slab. And if you don't know much about concrete, when you leave small concrete cylinders, not mass, but small concrete cylinders on a slab, during the dead of winter, we normally don't create that strength. We kind of slow down. Heating up the concrete kicks off the hydraulic reactions, or more hydraulic. Freezing it slows it and even stops it and does something funky with the water. So you end up getting very low strengths. We even did a what's it called on that? A video on that with Uncle Richard. Yeah.
The cold weather concrete.
Right, where we did two slabs, one which we cured we kept at 70 degrees, and the other one we let freeze to negative 20. 28 days we got 6,000 PSI here, 28 days we got 600 PSI here. So for that person who asked me this question, I really hope you didn't have a bad job site, because oftentimes that's why this question is asked. Now, here's the funny thing. We've had job sites where people will take cylinders and they'll cure it incorrectly by putting the cylinders in an oven. And they normally do that when we're working with something called a fast track pavement, or one of my favorites, a rapid runway repair. I can't say it. Rapid runway repair. Can't say it. Triple R. It's what the military uses a lot. And whenever they're, when I was working with, certain engineering firms that were trying to get a mix pass, what they would do is to kick off the strength in the samples, they would take their samples and put them in the oven. Now, there are certain maturity devices, chambers that you can use to match cure what's going on in the slab and make that happen with the curing environment for the samples. But just putting, and that goes back to a certain maturity method that folks like to use, but just putting the samples in an oven is a little shady, is the wrong direction to go. So I think I went into that question, what is the strength difference between concrete cured correctly and incorrectly? Freezing them, you'll see a major reduction in strength. Heating the samples up, you'll see a major increase in strength, more often than not. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to figure out this thing If you have any concrete questions, concrete concerns, don't forget to like and subscribe. Ding that bell for notifications. Go, go, go!
Beat asphalt.